Hey, it's Ronald Lamy with Experts in Power, where we bring experts to help you answer some of your questions. And today we're here with Brandon Bellegarde.
That's correct. Yes.
Did I say that correct? Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. And he is the CEO of Greyphin Industries. How's it going, man?
It's going well.
Good to have you here in the
Thanks for having me.
podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
He is an expert on the digital media, and so we felt that he is qualified enough out here to bring expertise and answer some of your questions. So we'll be talking about some of the digital stuff that you might be able to do in your business and some tips, and we're going to talk about just the space.
Perfect.
All right,
Sounds
cool,
good.
man. How's Myrtle Beach, man, treating you?
Myrtle Beach is treating me well. I love the beach. So yeah, I surf a lot, and the beach the beach here is affordable.
Mm-hmm.
I can live close to the beach and not spend a bunch of money, and I can surf as often as I want. So I love the beach.
How often do you surf?
I used to surf every day. Business has picked up over the past couple of years, so I surf 3-4 times a month, at best. But that works.
Yeah, sometimes we got some good waves out here.
Yeah. The last 2 weekends we've had chest-high waves.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's been
I
great.
missed it, man. I
Yeah.
was out of the country for a little while.
Where'd you go?
I was down in South America. I was
Okay,
down
where at?
visiting my family. I'm from Colombia,
What part?
from Bogota.
Bogota. So 2 years ago I was down in Cartagena. Actually,
Oh, really?
an
Yeah, I
island
was
off
just in Cartagena recently.
Yeah,
I just came from Cartagena.
we started an adaptive surfing program down in Cartagena.
Oh, really?
The first ever accessible beach is in
Okay.
Cartagena.
I
because
didn't
of
know
us.
it was some surfing out there.
Yeah.
Really?
We transplanted that. We taught them how to make boards. We taught them how to.
very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really
Ah,
cool. So,
Very nice. How long ago? You said 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, and actually now one of the boys that we worked with is competing at the international level. He went to the International World Championship.
Colombian guy? Or?
Yeah, Colombian guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool,
Yeah,
man.
pretty neat.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I never seen a spot right there where you can surf.
Yeah. So it's not far off of downtown Cartagena.
Really?
Yeah, not far at all. It's like a 10-15 minute drive.
Really?
At city speeds. So
Okay. How do you
not
like
far.
Cartagena?
Man, I love Cartagena.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'd love to buy one of those apartments downtown.
Oh, yeah.
And just live there part of the year. It is-
Expensive there, man.
It's expensive, but it is
Very
beautiful.
expensive, yeah.
The
Yeah, it's
culture
beautiful,
is amazing.
gorgeous. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm a
The
huge fan.
style, man, the colors, the food.
Absolutely.
You know, people's relax, man. It's
It's
fun.
It's one of the most magical places. I love it.
The way the sun goes down, the sunset.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Have you been? There's an island off of the coast there. There are a couple islands, but if you go right out the port,
Okay.
it's like an hour.
Rosario?
No.
Rosario Islands? Baru? Playa Blanca?
It might be.
Baru?
I think it might be that. I don't know
Okay.
which one. One of our team members at Greyphin actually lived there for 2.5 years on this island. So he took us back and showed us his old house and everything.
Oh,
and
very
we
cool.
got to meet the people there, and it was just a great experience.
I'm glad you've been there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally?
I'm from the state of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first generation born in the United States, so my mom and my biological father divorced when I was young, so I bounced back and forth between the two places. My father lives in Norway and is from Norway, but
Okay.
I was born in Missouri. I graduated high school and university in Missouri, but I've moved quite a bit.
So you speak the language?
Jeg snakker litt norsk. I speak a little bit of Norwegian. It's pretty bad though, so
Okay.
I can get around.
I remember maybe how do you say cheers? Skål.
Skål. Yeah.
Skål, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. I got a lot of friends from Sweden.
Okay.
So I could understand some of the Swedish language. I
Yeah.
spent some time trying to learn it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's similar.
It is
at some
similar.
point, at some things.
Dialects vary wildly depending on the region because of the mountainous terrain. So you
Sure.
have pockets of culture that doesn't get exposed to other pockets of culture. So the dialects don't really. Dialects can make it difficult.
Sure.
But it's similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how long you been here in Myrtle Beach now?
Going on 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
So how's that transition coming from Missouri to...
Oh man, there's no ocean in Missouri. So
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it went swimmingly. It was perfect. We had no issues. We came here, loved that. We were only going to stay here for I think like 24 months or something like that, and we loved it so much we just stayed. So and we've made it home. My son, he's 7, and he's never known anything other than what he knows now.
Sure.
So it's.
So yeah, he didn't even feel it.
No, not at all.
Sure.
Not at all.
I mean, this is a beautiful place
It's
to
beautiful.
come down to, and
Yeah.
I did the same thing, man. I actually came out here on a vacation. I was living in New York at the time, half of my family is from New York City,
Uh-huh.
and I came out here just for a vacation and never left.
Yeah.
So I didn't even go back to pick up my clothes.
Oh my goodness.
That's how much I liked it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, went out surfing and met all these people, man. It was a great,
People here are
great
pretty
place.
nice. Yeah.
I love it here. It's
Yeah.
a great place to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So coming out here, you started your business after how long, or like how long you been in this business?
So we started this, or I say myself and a guy named Randy Johnson, my partner, started this business in 2014, December 22nd, 2014. And I did it was about 18 months at the company that I was working for when I came out here. And since 2014, we've just been, balls to the wall. We've just been
going
running
at
hard.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running hard. So
it's a lot of opportunity out here.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure you guys, what's your main target? Like your target audience is not locally probably.
No, so
it's
we
all over, right?
All over the U.S.
Sure.
We have clients from Washington State to South Carolina. Our target market is someone who understands that they need to use digital marketing, that they understand that you can actually measure your ROI and then leverage the data that you have to gain more revenue, more return on your investment. People who understand those principles and can afford our services, that's our target market. People
so it has to be a company that has already, a certain level of revenue.
Sure. We take on a couple of startups each year. Oftentimes the startups end up being our most difficult clients because they want everything for free, and they already think they know everything.
Right. They're running thin too.
Yeah.
The margins and
exactly.
I'm sure they got the investors on top of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So we try and limit. We actually interview our clients. We don't take on just any client. So we'll have people come to us. And then if we think that we can do a good job for them and think that they will be a partner, because we're most interested in partnerships.
Long-term relationships,
long-term
That's
relationships.
what it's all about.
Absolutely. We don't want to rebuild our business every single year. So long-term partnerships, we know that all boats rise with the tide. So if we deliver value to our clients, then they will get value. They will increase their return on their investment, and then therefore they will want to work with us more. And it's about the client experience, which is a big part of my obsession right now is improving the client experience.
Sure.
We're a young company, but we grow each year by a tremendous amount. And awesome. We just want to make certain that as we grow, our clients aren't neglected and they get value from us still. So
cool.
Anyway.
Cool. So one thing that is really cool about Brandon, and that's something that not anybody just achieves out of nowhere. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and it takes a lot of knowledge to be able to help. I understand that you helped grow a company that went from certain revenue to certain revenue. Mm-hmm. It's about 680%. You guys grew this company. How long did it take that?
That was between 18 and 24 months.
Sure.
I think it was actually 18, but I like to say 24 months just to kind of give myself a little buffer there. But it was a lot of work. The company grew from about, I think, 13 employees to close to 70 employees in multiple locations around the world. There was a lot of travel involved and a lot of hard work, and that company is filled with great people. And I think that's one of the keys of what we were able to accomplish is hiring the right people so that they can then execute the operations that need to be executed in order to facilitate that growth.
So how do you play? What was your role in
My
there?
role, I had several roles. I initially came in to help with the procuring process, so the process of actually getting the inventory that they sell. It was a high-end artisanal product, and so what I did was I worked on making certain that they were getting the products in a timely fashion. Then I transitioned into some marketing and advertising, helped grow that department, and then I took over a distribution company after that that they had started, and we just grew and grew and grew. And nice. It really is about the right people, though.
Sure. That's what business about, right?
Absolutely.
It's just making sure you develop a plan to be able to bring these people on board and just be able to choose them and understand how to identify those A players, right?
Absolutely.
That's a big thing as far as business. So is that how you got into the industry with this company, or how do you get into digital marketing?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I was the VP of a bank, a regional bank in Missouri. They had 13 branches in 3 different states. They're doing, I think, $300 million a year in revenue, something like that. And I was in charge of the entire marketing department there. And so I had to learn trial by fire there. And then when I came to South Carolina and started working for that company there, I got to interact with the marketing team there, and they had a beautiful marketing team. I mean, just really proficient.
From the bank?
Actually, at the company that I came to work for.
Oh, they
here.
came to, okay.
Yeah, so I went from banking, marketing and advertising to this startup, and just got to experience doing whatever it takes to get the job done.
Sure.
And the marketing team there, they were all hungry, they were excited. Social media wasn't that
strong then.
It wasn't used that much for growing a business as it is now. And we just got to play. We got to try something, and if it didn't work, well, we would measure it. Fail quickly. So you try something, measure it. It didn't work. Let's make some adjustments. That didn't work. Let's make some adjustments. Maybe it worked a little bit, and let's just keep adjusting. And I use this illustration at work a lot, but this is the goal. This is where you start. A lot of businesses, in fact, the majority of businesses are on a 15-year cycle. So what they'll do is they set forth a plan, and it's 2 degrees off, and over 15 years, look how far off from the goal you are. And then they have to spend a bunch of money, and they have to go back to this, and they do the same thing again. Mm-hmm. Well, our model is this. We fail quickly. So as we get off track, we because we're measuring it, we can tell that we're off track.
Yeah, anything that you can measure this,
Absolutely.
That's the key, right?
That's why digital
You cannot
marketing,
measure, you cannot manage it.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's in my opinion, that's a benefit of digital marketing. You can actually measure the growth. You can actually measure how it's working.
Cool. So you started out with this company. Do you have a mentor then? I mean, they helped you?
I did not.
No, so it was just pretty much trial and error?
Yeah, trial and error. I'd been, I have a business degree. I started my first company when I was 13, and it wasn't anything fancy. But I did start something when I was 13, and I pretty much have owned my own side hustle since then.
Okay. What kind of business?
So that company was a business that mowed lawns and cleaned chicken houses.
Nice.
So we would literally go to chicken farms, me and about 3 or 4 other guys, and we would, when the chickens were out of the house, so there were broiler houses and there were laying houses, 2 different types of houses, but when the chickens were out of the house for transitioning new chickens in, we would go in and we would take a tractor, the farmer's equipment, and we would clean the houses out. We get everything.
So you were
reset.
13 years old driving a tractor.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I did that until I graduated high school.
Nice.
When I graduated high school, I went full time in construction and started working construction in school.
So you've been a little bit around everywhere.
Yeah, I was fortunate. We lived in the Midwest, and we were, I would say, lower middle class, upper lower class, and we struggled some. And I watched my parents work really hard, and I learned a lot from them and just how hard they worked. And so I knew from the time I was young that I was going to have to work hard. So.
Hustle.
Yeah, hustle. Exactly.
Yeah, hustle, man. Hustle is a beautiful thing. And it's
I
fun,
love it.
right?
I love it. Yeah, it's tons of fun.
What else can you do? All right. And what was some of the biggest fears starting this career? Do you have a fear or anything, or you just jump head first and that's it?
Yeah. I was actually asked this question this past weekend, and I'm ashamed to say I wasn't nearly as calculated as I am now. My biggest fear, I didn't have any, to be honest with you. I was like, this sounds like a great adventure. Let's go do it. I'm ready for something new.
Sure.
And so I just jumped in head first, and have, since then we've had tons of hurdles to overcome. But each time that happens, all that is that's another learning experience. So how I'm able to take that gem and tuck it away for the next time I face that problem.
Sure.
Where someone else is going to face it.
Put in the file right there.
Exactly.
The file right there in your brain, right? Or
that's perfect.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
I understand. How's your evolution since you started? Like,
when I first started, I was definitely more emotionally charged than I am now. I had a stronger belief in following your passion than I do now. And then reality kicked me in the teeth, and I learned that I had to measure things. I had to be more calculated. I had to plan more. I had to pay attention to the details more than pay attention to details more often than I was. And that, I would say, is probably how I've evolved most, is I've recognized the importance of planning.
Sure.
And that's pretty much it.
Planning is
huge.
What would you say is 80% of the battle?
if not more. Yeah,
if not more,
absolutely.
right? I mean, if you don't prepare, I mean, you
Yeah,
pretty much just swimming against the current.
yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, what makes you uniquely qualified to discuss this topic? Tell us, and tell us some more about the topic. Give us some tips on, on what's the current trend right now that you feel that some of the business owners out there, they got to a level and now they feel that they have some extra money to spend on digital, and they want to do something. How they go about that?
With regards to the qualification, well, I've worked with businesses doing just this from Japan, Italy, Ireland, Scandinavia, across the United States.
Japan,
yeah.
Wow.
We've done product releases for companies in Japan. Very successful product releases for the United States. We've acted as a consultant in that fashion. Say, this is what the American culture is like. This is what I had to learn a lot about the Japanese culture, which I still know very little about, but I hired people who knew.
You can always hire somebody that can help you out with that. So you cannot just know it all.
You can't be strong at everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
I was talking with my wife about that a couple nights ago. I was like, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is to hire for my weaknesses. You know, find my weaknesses and find someone who's strong at that, and then hire them. So I think that just the amount of experience that we've had and the amount of growth that we've had, we actually practice what we do, what we engage, what we do for our clients. We practice for ourselves. Exactly, we practice what we preach, and we've experienced. I mean, just in 2019, we experienced 1,500% growth in 2019. That
1,500. That's a big number.
It was insane. I slept very little. Yeah. So,
but you're having fun, right?
I'm having a blast.
It's not just working and not having fun, right?
Yeah. I love what I do. I truly do. I love doing what I do, and occasionally I need a reminder that I love what I do. And my partner usually will be the one to remind me. He'll say, "Hey, we're living the dream, man. This is great."
Sure.
And so
it can be sometimes when you, I guess, overwhelmed with all the things to do. It's always a to-do thing that you can be overwhelmed and stress can kick in and but it's obviously if you are not in love or loving what you do,
you're gonna burn out.
You wouldn't be able to grow the kind of growth that you haven't and work that many hours.
Exactly. So you go from a place, if you don't love what you're doing, then you're motivated by fear. So you're still not sleeping well at night. You've got all these thoughts going on in your head, and you're scared. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? But if you love what you're doing, you're like, okay, I've planned as much as I can possibly plan. I've got contingencies in place. Now let's go have fun. Let's go see what happens.
Let's push the boundaries.
Exactly. And if you're not pushing those boundaries, if you're not, one of my old bosses, we did a marketing campaign for him, and I asked him what he thought, and he's like, it makes me nervous. He's like, that's how I know you're doing the right thing.
Right.
Like, it's challenging my comfort level. And so loving what you do, you think about it more often. If you think about it more often, you're solving problems more often, and you're having fun doing it.
Sure.
So with regards to qualifications, I think it's just a matter of the amount of experience that I've had. Doing what I've done, I've been able to work with companies that make millions of dollars in revenue a year, that are multinational companies, to companies that are $200,000 in revenue a year. So I've gotten to see the spectrum, everything in between, and I know that I don't know everything. And every day this industry changes. So we're keeping up with the trends. We're constantly researching. Every single night I have a block of time that is for
just for that.
Just
develop
the
new
sharpening
trends.
the saw. Exactly. Sure. So that's why I think that we're qualified. Plus our clients get great results. So that's another reason. And then with regards to what, as a business owner, you should be doing with your marketing and advertising dollars, if you don't have a lot of money, I would invest in your website first. I would invest in your Facebook profile next. If you have more money than that, just take a percentage of your money and allocate it for your marketing and advertising. Marketing and advertising budgets are basically like a savings account. If you never make it a priority, you will never save. If you never make marketing and advertising a priority in your finances, you will never engage in marketing and advertising. And the thing about it is this world is not operating in a vacuum. So roofers, I asked you as we're walking in here, why would you do a podcast? And you had said, I'm able to expose the world to other experts and also network, and I'm also able to engage in the digital media.
Right. Get out of obscurity.
That's
what the game is about.
Exactly. Everyone's doing that, And I know that just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean that you should do it.
Sure.
But if you don't engage in digital marketing and advertising, you will fall behind. The vacuum doesn't exist. So everyone else is going to be investing in their digital marketing every single day, and every single day matters.
Sure.
So the biggest recommendation I would make is to make allocating funds for marketing and advertising.
Okay, talking about allocating. So let's say I'm a small contractor. You know, I've been doing well. You know, word of mouth just took me so far.
Sure.
Right. But now I'm planning. Okay, I really like this business. You know, I'm growing. You know, I got a good structure. I got great people. But now I don't know much about, you know, budgets and all that stuff. So what would you recommend a contractor or anybody that has a business? What's the formula? What do you allocate? What
percentage?
Because that's a big question that people has.
Yeah.
How do I allocate? Like, what's my percentage out of my revenue or so on?
So I would shoot for 4%.
4% of your
4% of gross revenue.
Gross. Okay.
That's what I would shoot for out of the gate. If you can afford that 4%, I would definitely shoot for it. If you think you can't afford for it, I would list there are great budgeting softwares out there. One that's super easy is something called YNAB. You need a budget. YNAB.com. You can it's made for personal budgets, but you can use it for a business budget. We don't get any kickbacks from YNAB. I just know the software.
Sure. It's just a great app for
absolutely. You can
people to
log transactions on your phone. You can generate profit and loss reports, a simple profit and loss report. Another software is QuickBooks Online. It's you can do the same thing. It's just another level up, and there are tons of softwares out there. So get a budget established. See your line items. Understand exactly how you're spending. Know what percentage is going to what expense categories, and then see what you can cut. And I bet you can find 4% to put toward marketing and advertising. Sure. So then with that 4%, you now know how much money you can spend per month, per year on your marketing and advertising. Take that and then farm out, if you can farm it out, farm out your website and your SEO. The reason I say to farm out your SEO specifically is because SEO, search engine optimization, you have to work on that every single day. That's not something that we talked about the vacuum earlier. Businesses are every day creating content for their website that has a direct link or direct connection between the keywords that people are searching for on the internet and the keywords that you have on your website. If your website isn't effectively leveraging that, then your website will not be found. You will be in obscurity. So hire someone, you know what your budget, what you can afford, hire someone to grow your revenue via your website. The next step would be to take on some social media. Know what your market is. Know your target demographic. If your target demographic is 34 to 18, well then you should be leveraging and if you like to do videos and things like that, you should be leveraging TikTok and Snapchat. We know that I think it's something like almost 80% of that demo uses those two platforms. Sure. If you're in your market your target demo is 50, 40, I don't know the actual numbers on this, but probably 40 up, then target Facebook. If you have a mix, well then you're going to have a mixed set of platforms. But pick one, do it well, learn on it, make your mistakes, and then move into the next platform.
Would you recommend? This is a question that's always, that I hear always in the spaces. Would you recommend people to handle their own website or have an expert just constantly, updating their website? And what would you say is the best thing? So I mean, if you don't have a marketing team, obviously, like a web designer in house, right? What would you recommend?
That's actually how we designed our company, basically, was to help people like that didn't have someone in-house or couldn't afford someone in-house. My recommendation is to find that budget that you can spend and then find someone that you can hire that will do a good job so that you don't have to think about it. That's my recommendation. However, not everyone can afford that. Sure. And so if you can't afford that, there are great programs out there like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. Those are great platforms that you can build on. Sure. They're only going to get you so far, but you can build on those.
You can build a website.
You can build a website on it. You can even do initial SEO.
Sure.
But there's something to be said about daily someone who can daily engage in that industry and daily learn from it and know, use all the right softwares to identify what keywords to use and what Google algorithm is what is the major Google algorithm that's going right now, like BERT.
I think what hurts you is what you don't know.
Exactly.
If you don't know these things, I mean, you're not going to be able to execute them. So because of that, it's better to have somebody that can help you in the field with, like an expert. But another question, and that's, obviously coming from me, that I'm a business owner myself, is how do you hire this person? Like, because I went through many web designers that just dropped the ball and they did great at the beginning, and then with time they just start dropping the ball, and then it was impossible to reach out to them. Or they got busier, they grew their company. Now it's kind of like, hey, look,
what about me?
We got to get some things done. We're here to make money, and money is here now. It's not like, let's do it in 2 weeks.
Sure. So a couple of things. First off, business owners don't have time. They're working on their core competency. You are working on growing your business. You're working on improving your customer's experience in the roofing industry. So you don't have time to do a whole lot of research on the type of person to hire. So you're already at a disadvantage. The things that I would focus on is I would look at past projects that those web developers have engaged in, projects that they've worked on in the past. There are a number of softwares out there that you can actually run a website through, and it can tell you all the errors on the front end and the back end. You may have to pay for the software, but it might be worth your while. So you can put the domain in there, and it'll actually crawl the entire website. It'll tell you all the errors.
So you recommend for the business owner to crawl the person that you're going to hire's website, or
I would recommend their clients' websites. Because if they're like us, we spend less time focusing on our website and more time focusing on their websites, on our clients' websites. But check and see. It's very much like hiring anyone else. Look at their credentials, do background checks. Run the background check being, look at their past projects.
Sure.
And
call some of the clients.
Absolutely.
Because that's important. Like me as a business owner, struggling with, updating my website and doing all these things with, related with website, because we want to stay relevant.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating, and you have to do your homework, before you just go and dump a bunch of money into somebody that's going to, not only you're going to lose the money, but it's going to frustrate you, and it's going to put you behind the schedule on your marketing.
Yeah, I would say, so there's that, and then there's one other thing. Understand exactly what you want from your web development firm that you're working with. I recommend not working with an individual, and this, I may get a lot of grief for this, but working with an agency. That way there's more security and stability there.
Sure.
One of the issues that we've run into, some of the clients that we've picked up specifically locally, they've worked with freelancers who took their money and didn't really deliver.
Let them down.
Yeah. And so I recommend agencies that have some margin to give discounts, give refunds, things like that if they have to. But also because of the fact that that if Joe down there at the digital marketing agency quit, your project is still going to move on.
Sure.
It's not going to just be...
Yeah, they got the manpower to keep it going.
Exactly. And then identify your expectations. Know what you want from them. Be very precise about what you want from that digital marketing agency. The two biggest problems we run into, I'll just cover the first one, is making certain that the client's expectations are in line with what we actually do. So we have clients that hire us to build a website, and then we'll be in our marketing sessions that we have with them. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, we need you guys to procure us some products. We need you guys to go work with our manufacturers to get these products made. And we're like, no, that's not what we do. That's part of your business model. We're not going to build your business for you. We're going to build your store for you. And then you stock the shelves, and we'll keep your store up to date, and we'll make certain that people come to your store and that they find your store. Sure. But you just understand. I would tell
understand what you want from
this. Yeah, because you may be asking for something that digital marketing agency doesn't
do. Not able to.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my 2 tips there.
Sure, that's cool. So let's say, for example, I'm a business owner. I'm trying to understand, what I expect from them, but I have no real experience yet. What would you say would be the minimum? Would you say like, okay, so build your website, build your website to mobile, right?
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
a
Mobile first.
right? Mobile, and have a sharp website, that you can browse. I mean, they should give you different, I guess, different, how would you say it? Different websites that you can look at. And,
Sure.
And then from there, who's usually in charge of writing the content? Would it be the client, or would it be the
So typical agencies make the
agency.
client write the content. We don't. We write the content for them. We focus on. We understand that a confused consumer does not purchase.
Right.
So one of the things that we run into with our clients is we have to convince them. We have to show them that no one cares about your story. They care about how you are going to help them be the hero in their story.
Right.
You are just, you're a guide.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
You're the guide,
Right.
exactly. So that's the biggest thing, I think, that, well, I don't know that I answered your question, but I'm answering a different question, I suppose. Make certain that, as a business owner, that you're not trying to pack too much information into the website. One, make certain that the website is something that you would actually want to use. If you don't want to use it, most likely no one else wants to use it, especially in your industry. If you think that you're a good representation of the demo in your industry. So really just clear message, not too much information. No one cares about your logo, no one cares about your family, no one cares about, this is just a brutal, honest truth. They care about how are you going to help me achieve my goals.
So by saying that, is how clear the message is. Once I need that product, and I go into your website, how clear it is for me to say, okay, yeah, I mean, this makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give them a call.
Absolutely. I think the average attention span today is somewhere like 7 seconds. And so if a person goes to your website, we have this thing that we measure called bounce rate, and you can actually tell how engaging a website is by the bounce rate usually. So bounce rate that's in the 80%, meaning that what a bounce rate is when someone comes to your website and they spend 30 minutes on your website or more without clicking on anything, it's considered a bounce. It's considered Google Analytics and all the analytic programs, they consider that a bounce.
A bounce means good.
A bounce is bad.
Bad. Okay,
So that means
they
didn't do anything on your website. Yeah.
Okay.
If they go to your website and then they immediately leave, that's also a bounce.
Okay.
So you want people to be engaged.
To just go through pages.
To go through pages, to read your content, to click on things. The higher your bounce rate is, the lower you're going to rank in a Google search.
Okay.
So you need to create a website that engages the visitor.
Keeps people inside.
That keeps people there. So your website.
So what's a good percentage on the bounce rate?
Oh man, 20% would be fantastic.
20%?
Yeah,
Okay.
20 is great.
So the lower the number on the bounce rate is, it's good.
That's
okay.
right.
All right,
right.
good. That's one thing for me to learn.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
myself.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
So yeah, just make sure that the website is something that people actually want to visit. Create a good website, people will visit. And then the next principle that I would want to tell someone is that no matter how awesome your website looks, if you aren't engaging in SEO on a regular basis, then
dropping.
It's
nowhere to be found.
It's nowhere to be found. You might as well have never even launched it. You might as well have had a PowerPoint presentation.
I understand.
So you need SEO and you need a good looking website.
Let me ask you one thing. As far as images, like what would you recommend? Images, video. I mean, what would you recommend on the front?
So you want the thing about video on your homepage is that so video consumes data. So in mobile, it'll consume data. So typically, industry standard is to not have a video that moves in mobile on the homepage. So if you're going to have video, just make certain you set it up so that it's not moving.
So it's just because somebody clicks it.
Right. It moves.
They want to click.
It moves in desktop, but when it goes to mobile, it becomes a stationary image.
Sure.
Make certain that on your images, that you have a good image title. The image should encompass the keyword that you're trying to rank for on that page, and make certain that the alt text is following the format that Google requires. This will help you get ranked higher. But definitely have images. They
got to be crisp, right?
Crisp. You need
Crisp
high
images.
res. Don't take a picture with your iPhone and then think that you can put that up on your website and it be good.
Right.
You can have an amazing website structure with all the internal links that you need to have, all the SEO set up the way you want it set up, and the images be terrible, and no one's going to want to look at that.
Not going to trust you.
They won't care. Yeah.
Yeah. They think that if you're not professional enough to take great pictures,
exactly.
Obviously everything comes through your eyes.
Absolutely.
Right? Especially on a website.
Social media can be completely different. You can use low quality images on things like Twitter and Facebook, but you don't want those on your website.
Sure. All right. That's great information as far as website.
Cool.
So let's talk about social media on Facebook, let's say. A lot of people sees that, let's say I created my Facebook page and I know I can sponsor the ad, right? Does it make sense for let's say, for example, I'm a small business, I have 3 people in my office, we do a little bit of everything together.
Yeah.
Would it make sense for me to sponsor an ad, with just because I think that this ad, I created a picture with some words about the product. Like, how would you handle that? Or does it make sense just to have an agency with a full strategy behind when you're sponsoring ads? Like, how can you explain?
Yeah, if you're
so they can understand.
If you're a company of that size, 3 people, most likely you're not going to want to spend the money on or on ad creation with an agency. But you can do that yourself. Facebook is a great place to learn. So you can take an ad and you can have a really small budget on Facebook and actually get several impressions depending on how you set it up. So I would recommend, figuring out how much money you could spend first. It all starts with that. So how much money can I spend per month? And then I would put something on there and I would let that ad run 6, 7, 8 months. I would make modifications to that ad, but I'd let it run. And each month I'd monitor the analytics and see how many people are clicking, see how it's working, what do I need to modify, and just keep tweaking it.
Sure.
And you want to set your budget at a budget that you can afford to
you
lose
feel
the
comfortable.
money. Yeah, exactly. Discretionary income there. So can I lose this money? If I can, let's try it.
Sure.
And what you'll find is that it's not going to happen overnight. People think that, okay, I'm running an ad. I ran that ad for 3 months and we didn't get anything from it. I'm like, well, try running it for 6 months. Try running ads for a year and see what happens. What you'll see is you'll notice that suddenly your inbound marketing game has improved.
Talk about a little bit about the Google Analytics.
Absolutely. So Google Analytics is 79 to 90% of all internet searches that occur in the world go through Google. They're the largest search engine on the face of the planet. The next largest is Bing, 7.9 to 10%. Everything else, they're very minuscule. So Google sets the rules for how you get found in the search. Google essentially is just an advertising agency. They want to put the people who are most qualified to fulfill a service or sell a product at the top because that's going to get them the most revenue. So what Google does is they give you a wide variety of tools that you can use, one of which is Google Analytics. Google Analytics, there's this bit of code that you can put onto your website, and with that you track every visitor that comes to your website. On that you know what demographic they are, what device they're looking at, what device they're using, what nation they're in, what region they're in, what language they speak, what sort of websites they look at. They're called affinity segments. So this person likes to look at outdoor recreational equipment and landscaping materials, and so then you can figure out what their bounce rate is for that affinity segment, and you can target those people specifically to make certain that your website is engaging for them. And when you do that, you will decrease your bounce rate and increase your search engine ranking. So my recommendation for digital marketing is to make your website the hub of everything, because if you have all of your social media coming into your website, you have every digital,
so all the links coming right,
everything's coming to your website. What that's going to do, the backlinks will increase your ranking on Google, but it will also allow you to mine all of this data and understand your consumer. Because really, Google is moving toward, they want people to not be selling at their, I'm being presumptuous, based off of the moves they've made. It appears that they're trying to get people to sell to, not sell at someone. So they want to make certain that when you do a Google search that you're finding exactly what you want, because they want to continue to be the king. And so they give you just all of that data that you can leverage for all of your marketing.
For everything.
Yeah.
To help you with the SEO too.
SEO,
Would that help you with SEO?
Absolutely. Helps you with SEO. You can use that information, and you can actually use that for your print marketing. We have a client who he focuses on his website and print mailers. And print mailers, I think the return on investment for typical print mailers is less than 1%. But this guy gets a much larger return than that because he's specifically looking at the type of people that are buying from him. He sees their demographic, and then that's who he targets with his print mailers. So you can use Google Analytics.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
So basically, just look at Google Analytics, see what's the people that's been searching your website.
Sure.
Get a good average, and then be able to do a different kind of marketing as far as like you said,
Absolutely.
just hard marketing, like hard copy marketing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great tip.
And that's free.
Yeah, that's free.
We joke that you have to have a bachelor's degree to understand Google Analytics, but the good news is that they have certification programs that they give you for free as well. So if you really want to understand and you don't have the money to pay someone, you can go through all the certification programs.
How long does it take a certification, you think?
Depends on how fast you want to move. I mean, you can do it in a day. You can get there are multiple levels. So I don't think you're going to retain anything if you try and do it in a day. But
sure.
Give yourself 6 weeks, and you
can
get the first certification.
Just reading and
absolutely.
Going right through it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Now, as far as SEO, can people do their own SEO? Like,
Sure.
let's just start out with their own SEO. What would you recommend as far as SEO? Because that's kind of like the elephant, in the room that everybody knows about, but in the end,
they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, it's just how do you go about SEO?
Okay, so if you don't have the budget to hire a firm, then what I recommend doing is maybe you've not already built your website. If you haven't already built your website, then I would use something like Shopify or WooCommerce. WooCommerce has a tool called Yoast, I believe is what it's called, that will give you some SEO guidance. It's not perfect. It's not even close to perfect, but it's going to be better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Okay, what's that website? Can we get that website right there, the link in there? That'd be great for people to have that info.
So WordPress.com, and the tool that they have is called Yoast.
Okay.
And it's on the back end there, and it'll basically give you kind of a guide of basic SEO. Okay, that blog post needs X, Y, and Z. It needs a page title or a blog title. It needs a category. It tells you all of that stuff. It doesn't do the keyword research for you. That is going to have to be on your own. But it does give you. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to write code to put that information onto your website if you use one of those tools. Now, the thing about it is that SEO is much more than just keywords. There's site structure. Right now, the big site structure is something called a topic cluster model. And so what that does is it helps if one page of your website increases in ranking, then every page of your website increases in ranking if you use the topic cluster model. So there are a number of things that you have to do, but just start somewhere.
Sure.
It's like the savings account. If you don't start saving today,
sure.
you won't have anything. You're never going to save. Exactly. You're never going to save. So if you don't start working on your SEO today, it's going to cost you more later. And so you might as well, and you'll never do it. Today's the best day. With it. Start today.
Sure. All right. Cool. So what are your plans for 2020? Any good plans coming up?
Yeah, we've got some pretty big plans. We are launching 2 national projects that one of which we own, and then the other one we've partnered with all I can say is that one of them is in the construction industry, one of them is in the insurance industry, and we have projected tremendous growth from those 2 projects. So we're really excited about that. Middle of the year.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. When you and I were chatting before the podcast, I had made the comment that this is all kind of a game to me, like chess or any game that has points. The money is the point system.
Right.
And when we make more money, I want to make certain that the people that I surround myself with people who are going to challenge me and going to create the playground where we get to create every day. And so I want to continue in 2020 to find those people that want to be a part of this team. In fact, I got a text just before we walked in here about someone else that's like, hey, I want to come work for you. So we're attracting like-minded people, but I don't want to create an echo chamber. So I'm going to focus a lot of our time on molding our culture to be something that challenges us.
Right.
One of the core
Yeah, you don't want to have everybody look alike, right?
Not at all, not at all. And one of the core principles at Greyphin is that we need to be better tomorrow or today than we were yesterday, while inspiring others to do the same. So that constant growth. I think that's the point of life. I think that's the purpose, is to continually evolve.
That's a great goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our two of them are quantifiable and one of them isn't. So 2020 looks like that.
Man, I like that. That's
Awesome.
That's pretty much what we feel here in United Contractors Roofing, man. It's
Yeah.
just obviously work on that culture every
Yeah.
day, but make sure that culture is just not a filter that's gonna bring just people that look alike everybody, and that does the same thing.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure that we got those challengers
Yeah.
within the business that they will challenge you, thinking outside of what your comfort zone is,
Yeah.
and bring you to a different level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's hard to recognize that,
It is.
It's how do you recognize that? I guess it's a lot. You got to put the work into, developing those systems and how to hire, how to, developing the systems of how to interview. That's a big one too. Is how do you interview people is the big one of the biggest things. That's how you recognize.
Yeah. I think that a couple years ago I read a study that talked about the likelihood of hiring the right person is something like 2%. You have a 2% chance using the traditional method. So over the past 6 years or so, we've worked on developing a hiring process that hopefully increases that, but it's more quantifiable, and it's a longer process, but it's worked well for us. But we have this idea that we call POP, people plus operations equals profit. You hire the right people, you give them the vision. You say, okay, we're going this way, this direction. That's where we want to be. Give them all the information, and you let them create the operations necessary, and then the profits will come. Another way to say that is, I say this frequently. My management style is, I want to get X amount of people across that river over there in Y amount of time for Z amount of money. Go forth. Here are the resources. You know what to do. If you need any help, let me know. And then that way people can figure out a better way, because I know I'm not the smartest guy.
Sure.
I'm smart enough.
Yeah, I can use creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the creative flow going.
Then we're not as strong as or weak as I am. We're as strong as or weak as the aggregate, the whole team. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely, man. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Our goal right here for 2022 is just be able to just bring as many A players.
Yeah.
And put them in place and have fun, man, with us.
Have fun. Let them do their thing.
Cool, man. So, if you could talk to young Brandon, if you could advise him, now, like, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to focus more on data and less on emotion. I would tell him that it's important to have a safe time to be emotional, but to not let emotions guide you, because those are all reactions to chemical production in your brain.
Come and go.
Yeah.
Quick.
So don't make judgment calls based on emotion. That's what I would say.
So use data.
Yeah, data, absolutely.
Data and just figure out what the data's telling you.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
What about one of the best advices you ever had that you feel?
I think that well, it's kind of, they kind of go against each other. But when I was doing construction years ago, I was all about approaching life with aggression. I would see a project, and my process was blitzkrieg. Just head in, just tackle it. And there was this older guy who was operating a backhoe, and he would call me Boo for some reason. But anyway, he called me Boo, and he's like, you need to work smarter, not harder. And that really left an impact on me. And then on the other hand, my brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws told me that you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. And so recognizing that I can have anything, but I can't have everything. So how do I leverage my intelligence and my resources to get that? How do I use all of the things that I have in life, relationships, my time, my finances, my skills? How do I leverage all of that stuff to achieve my goal? And my goal is to leave a positive impact on the world. You know, not just Horry County, but I want to positively impact the world. So those were the two lessons that I learned, and I just kind of smashed them together into one.
All right, very good, very good. I like that. All right, guys. So you have here Brandon with Greyphin, and we have some great nuggets. And,
awesome. Glad to be here.
You know, we're gonna put the link of where you can find him. He's here, local, Little River.
Yep.
We will have his link, and thank you for
Perfect.
coming. And it was a pleasure. Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
I hope we can do some more of these later on.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see what life brings this year, and
Perfect.
we can catch up at a different time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Sounds
man.
good.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you. Absolutely.
All right. Sounds good.